Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast. I am Jody Grunwald. This week, I have two incredible guests. Sylvia Allen, president of Allen Consulting. She is also the founder of the incredible Sylvia's Children in Uganda, Africa. In November, Sylvia was joined by Terese Rolke, executive director of the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce, as they took a trip with others to visit Sylvia's Children. During that trip, they provided the children in the school with healthcare, trinkets, love, and so much more. To learn more about Sylvia's Children, an incredible nonprofit organization, go to sylviaschildren.org. And to learn more about the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce, go to monmouthregionalchamber.com. Don't forget to follow Today's the Day on Facebook and Instagram at Today is the Day Live It. That's Today is the Day Live It. And don't forget to like, comment, and share if something that was said in this episode resonates with you. Have a great week, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today's the Day Changemakers podcast. I am Jody Grunwald, and as I say every week, I get to interview the changemakers, the inspirers, and those who are just disrupting the status quo in the best way and most positive way possible. And today, I have two amazing changemakers with me and friends, and I'm so excited to have you both here. I have Terese Rolke and Sylvia Allen. Terese, you and we go back a little bit here as the executive director of the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce, but you started as a volunteer there. You became a member, it says here, March 2013, joined the board in 2017, and became the executive director in 2019. How exciting is that?
Oh, yeah, I'm very excited. And I love this chamber. I love this chamber so much. And that's why meeting people like you, Jody, and Sylvia, it's what it's all about.
Well, now we're going to introduce Sylvia, and Sylvia Allen is the president of Allen Consulting, but she also is the founder in 2003 of Sylvia's Children. It's a 501c3 in Mbiriizi, Uganda, Africa, a nonprofit founded to help the children at the Mbiriizi Advanced Primary and Daycare School. The school is based on the British model and goes through primary 7. After that, the children go on to secondary school and then go on to college and or technical school. The mission of the organization has been expanded to include providing secondary school and advanced education to any orphan that wishes to go beyond P7. And then as of January 1st, 2023, they have had 150 orphans in secondary school and 50 in college and or technical school. And they already had 77 orphan graduates, and another group will graduate. And I guess they graduated in the summer of 2023. So we're going to get all up to date, Sylvia, on all the incredible work and how this all started. But just so the listeners know, I had a conversation with Terese, I guess it was November, and you were headed to Uganda with Sylvia. Yes. And, I've been part of that chamber, and now, running the MODC, and I was been part of the Monmouth Regional Chamber, amazing people like Sylvia and yourself. And when I heard that was happening, I was like, I have to have you and Sylvia on. So I want to start though, Sylvia, and go back with you. And everybody's going to want to know why. What made you start this organization?
Well, if you had said in 2002, Sylvia, you're going to be caring over 1,000 children every year in Africa, I would have said, I'm sorry, you're nuts. But I taught at NYU for 20 years. I taught sports and special events marketing, but I also taught in the Center for Philanthropy and Fundraising. And I had developed a course called How to Ask for Money, because nonprofits they do a great job. Here's the good work we're doing, and will you give me money? They fold when it comes to that. Or, well, have you got 25? No. So January of 2003, go off into New York, and I'm looking around, and I've got, the wonderful eclectic blend, the little old ladies in sneakers and the guys with the suede, and the guy in jeans and a ripped shirt. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what I'm working with. And this man comes sauntering up to me and he says, how do you do? I'm so-and-so, and I'm from such and such. And I'm just auditing, so I don't have to do any work. Well, I said, how do you do, Mr. So-and-so? I travel 50 miles one way to teach you from the heart. Get out. I don't take audit students because you're not going to do anything and you're a waste of my time. So he sat down and I thought, okay, you stay in this class, you are going to work. So I always started every class with an impromptu exercise to get them used to just doing it. And I said, and Mr. So-and-so, you're first. You have 5 minutes. You come up, you give your name, the name of your organization, what a specific need is, the money, and ask for money. He said, you forget I'm auditing. I said, you forget I'm your teacher. Get up there. So every week, he would have to do that. By the third week, he says, oh, I just love your style. I said, I'll bet. He said, no. He said, I want to invite you to Africa. I said, who's going? I already knew the answer because I had just finished reading Poisonwood Bible, but I thought, let him finish. Well, he said, 5 ministers. I said, 5 ministers and me? He said, yeah, he said, don't worry, you'll be safe. I said, I wasn't worried about me because I thought 5 ministers and I are not going to have a really comfortable relationship. But in May of 2003, off we go to Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. And wonderful trip. So when I get my humor back someday, I will write a book called 5 Ministers and Me in Africa. And it was when we got to Uganda, and we were on the last 4 days of the trip, that I had this unbelievable pressure on my chest that said, you're supposed to be here. Do something. I don't know what to do. I don't speak Ugandan. I don't know anybody over here. And I was able to do teaching every day. And it was on the very last day where I was teaching business people how to work as like sell your coffee beans. Don't go individually, coffee beans, coffee beans, coffee beans. Go as a group, then you negotiate a better price. How do you get paid for the signs that are on your store? And so on and so on. And at the very end, this man comes up to me and he hands me a plaque. And the plaque says, I thank God for what I am. And on the back side says the children at the Mbiriizi school want you to be their grandmother. I said, I can do that. In sales, there's a thing called TYG, trust your gut. You know, your stomach flops before your head knows. My stomach didn't flop with him. So I had to trust my stomach that this was the right thing. So I said, okay. And he said, turn around, look down the hill. And here were all these little kids lined up by the fence waving to me. So I said, give me your name, your number, your email. And I came back to the United States. I immediately incorporated as Sylvia's Children. Within a week became a nonprofit in the state of New Jersey because I wasn't going to do anything till I was legal. And then I said, I don't know what to do. So I said, you idiot. I made Sylvia's Children a client of Allen Consulting because then I was able to step back and treat it like, because we'd always worked with lots of nonprofits and won awards and made money for them and everything. But here I am in this morass of my brain. And the minute I could do that, okay, I know what to do. I filed my own 501c3. They said, you can't do that. I said, don't tell me I can't do that. Peter and I got to be very dear friends at the IRS. I'm sure that man still has nightmares, but I got 501c3. And, you know, I just started. What do? I'll get the orphan sponsored. Always 25% of our kids are orphans. He had 439 children, 4 buildings, 139 orphans. So 20 years, you know, we have 26 buildings. We have 6,000 square foot medical clinic. We have 7 acres in a farm. We have 20,000 chickens so we can sell eggs and 100 pigs so we can sell piglets. And we have 5,000 coffee trees so we can sell coffee beans. Half of the clinic is for the school. I've been having a very difficult time with the clinic. I finally have someone who's putting a group together. They're going to lease the clinic. So that will be fully operational. You know, I built a dorm for the teachers, a 20-unit dorm, the kids, 100 boys in that dorm, 100 girls in the girls' dorm. And I'm not going to go on and on. I'm just going to tell you, by myself, I've raised over $2 million in 20 years. And all that money goes to the school. I don't keep any of that money. And Terese, when she went with me, she can validate what I say. People that go on the trip say, well, she calls it like she sees it. So it's been the most phenomenal thing. Just recently, I raised enough money through several Rotaries that we put in a computer lab. There are 12,000 primary schools in Uganda. Probably 5 primary schools have a computer lab. We've got one of them, which to me is so important for those kids.
Well, I have have about 90 million more questions, but let's start somewhere here because, okay, you're raising money for an organization in Africa and you live in New Jersey, right? Okay. So those of us, myself included, who have an organization in the state of New Jersey and live in New Jersey have a hard enough time raising the money in New Jersey for the New Jersey organization. I'm sure those out there who are similar to you, or even those of us who are sitting in the state that they actually have the organization, how? How did you do it?
First place, I have my story straight. I know I've been there 35 times. So people know that I know what's going on. I'm also meticulous about any expense. For example, when we were there in November, I saw that the well wasn't working. I saw that there were problems with something in the cat. Found 5 problems that they didn't want to bother me with. I said, the kids are walking with the jerry cans again to go get water. Get me a quote. I'll raise money for the well. So I've gotten everything fixed. But I go and I make sure let's take money for the well. How much will it cost? Fine. Give the person the go ahead. When the job is done and you've sent me pictures and the bill has been paid, I will send you the money. I am meticulous about keeping track of everything and making sure. If you say, Sylvia, this is $395 to sponsor a primary school child, that money goes to that school. It's not like World Vision, where 60% is spent on management. I don't do that.
But
And
who do you?
I always ask.
Well, that was going to be my question. Are you asking sponsors in New Jersey to sponsor them those in Africa, or are you going anywhere and everywhere for sponsorship? Who are your sponsors? You don't have to tell me the names, but is it grants? Is it corporate?
Not much in the way of grants. Grants, it's easier for me to knock on a door and talk to somebody than to write out 40 pages for a grant for $1,500 and get rejected. And I did lots of things. I will always speak. Trace knows this. Wind her up and she will speak. I speak from the heart. I'm not representing somebody. I'm representing what I do. And I can do all of it. Yeah, I belong to Homedale Community United Church of Christ. Every July, we do fundraising for Christmas in July. And that's been going on for 15 or 16 years. Now, I'll tell you how that happened, because they called and said, Sylvia, would you come to a mission committee meeting? Because we would love to talk to you about Sylvia's children. Now, I already knew that the mission committee chairperson was going to be gone in a month. I thought, oh yeah, I know this game. Throw out the bait. So I said, that's great. Every July is wonderful. Oh, and by the way, I said, you don't even have to ask the question. Yeah, I'll do it. Because I thought, okay, I will give back. You are giving to me. You are giving to the school. I will give back. Because of pre-COVID, I traveled all over the world teaching people how to sell and how to make money and everything. Between COVID, cutting that out, and the joy of getting macular degeneration, which is trimming down some of the stuff I'm doing, I don't have as many public speaking engagements, but those that I do have are impactful. And I still have a strong database. I have a lady that 12 years ago started out giving $2,500. I call her my chicken leader. She says, I want to help you get chickens. Well, so far this year, just this year, she's given over 70,000.
Wow.
I have a guy and so then I tried for 10 years. 49% of my kids are Catholic, 20% are Muslim, and everything else. For 10 years, I tried to get the Catholic Church to accept me. We can't accept you. You're not Catholic. Well, I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and I finally got somebody who said, I can help you. I said, fine. Yeah, you're the one who told me I couldn't do it. Now you're telling me you can help me. So he approached the Diocese of Trenton, got the paperwork for me. I filled out all the paperwork. I said to him, I'll let you sign this because you've been so nice. Get it signed, get it off to him. Great, except I had to get the Bishop of Masaka, which is my diocese over there, to sign this paperwork. not a problem. I get to him and I'm all done. And I said, and I just need you to sign this. I'm not doing that. I said, tell me why. He said, because you're not Catholic. I said, repeat it. He said, because you're not Catholic. I said, no problem. I'm out of here. And I don't give up. But that was the closest I ever came to saying, how can I fight that? But when I got back to the United States, luckily, my ombudsman man said, well, that's wrong. He said, I'll talk to the diocese. Mm-hmm. Very good. So every year now, I'm an accepted missionary. Whenever they have world something Sunday, they introduce Father so-and-so from the Philippines and such and Sylvia. The first year he did that, I said, look, Father PJ, I said, you could say Grand Sylvia, because that's what the kids call me. He said, I want to ask you a question. How much did you raise this year? I said, 18,000. He said, you raise more money than I do. I said, do you know why that is? He said, why? I said, I'm not Catholic. And then he gave me a hug. I said, look, I said, I talk from here. I said, it's pretty hard not to accept from here. And there isn't a question you can ask me that I can't answer. So that's how I do it. And again, one of those summers 2 years ago in Manasquan, this man walks up to me. He says, here's my card. Call me tomorrow. I'll give you $30,000. Almost had I said, huh, because I really feel like they've just knocked me out. I mean, I can't walk up to somebody and say, here's, give me a check. So nice, 30,000. It was great. I never heard from him again until last week.
Oh.
Because he got my annual report, my color annual report. He said, why haven't we gotten together? I said, whatever you'd like to do. So we're having lunch next week. He said, I need to see how I can help you on a regular basis.
So excited for you.
And I don't, it's amazing. All I can say is, number one, I emanate. I don't know what it is. I emanate, but people are attracted to that. I never miss telling the story. Look, what do I have on? I have on elephant earrings. I'm checking out at Starbucks. Sylvia, we love those earrings. I go, and I do work in Africa. Here's my newsletter. I leave no stone unturned.
Let me tell you that is just there's so much more, but I want to ask you, but I'm going to turn to Terese now, and because you're running this organization, an incredible organization. I love the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce and the people there, and you decide I'm going to go with Sylvia to Uganda. How did that all come about? Because I was surprised when you called me or I called you, or you called me from the airport.
Yeah, so Sylvia, excuse me, talks about obviously Sylvia's children. I had her speak to the Percolator breakfast morning on Friday morning. I said, I want you to talk about your organization. So I want people to know about what you're doing in Africa. And then she promoted a trip in over the summer because she goes twice a year. And she gave me the flyer with the information to participate as a volunteer on the trip. And I said, Sylvia, I can't, I'm in the middle of all the chamber events. I can't go anywhere in June. So she said, well, how about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving? And I thought, I'm like, I might be able to pull that off. So she gave me the information about the November trip, the 2 weeks prior to Thanksgiving. It's right after Athena, which is one of our last biggest events of the year, and right before Thanksgiving, which things are kind of quiet because people are taking time off. Like, okay, I want to go. And I love all our chamber members. I really try to connect with them and find out what do they do and how we can serve them. And so with the nonprofits, as you also know, Jody, with Applaud Our Kids Foundation, I love to support our nonprofits any way I can.
You do.
And I wanted to experience Sylvia's children firsthand. I wanted to be able to speak from experience about what's actually happening there in Africa. So I was absolutely thrilled that it worked out that I could go. And I have to tell you, the US dollar goes a long way in Africa. So the trip for 10 days in Africa, plus airfare, food, hotel, safari,
Sorry.
safaris, was very affordable. So I'm like, this is everything, all inclusive. I gave her my checks and signed me up. And I was thrilled and honored to be present with that group of volunteers. And so I was the newbie. It was my first time. And Sylvia, like she said, after 20 years, this was her 35th time. So she knows what she's doing. She had four other people that went with us. And so I'm going to just mention Doug, who's been there 12 times. He's amazing. We love him. He's from the Monmouth County area, and I have to reconnect with him. We've been texting, but I want to get together with Doug again. I miss him. So he was there 12 times, and he's been helping Sylvia. Then there was Jenna, the pediatrician. That was her 4th trip. And then there were 2 nurses from Michigan. That was their 2nd trip.
Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. I'm sorry, Minnesota. Yep. Yeah.
An M. It was an M.
And so, because Sylvia does work in the clinic while we're there for the kids, the nurses and Jenna were examining. We got through about 200 of the kids while we were there. And what happens is they do have a staff nurse, but it's, there's a lot of kids. There's 1,000 kids at that school. So when Sylvia comes twice a year, she brings some staff with her that can help examine the kids and see if they're healthy or not. And of course, there were some kids that needed medication that they didn't have at the school. So we would drive to the pharmacy, pick up the medication and bring it back the next day. And the nurse from the school would administer the medication for them. So the work she does is beyond just the school. It really, she's taking care of those kids. It's just amazing what she does there.
So when you got there and you saw the space, Terese, what was kind of like the first thing that came to your mind?
Well, first of all, those kids, man, they just immediately just steal your heart to see them. They love Grand Sylvia, as they call her. And she, like, when she comes and whoever's with her, it doesn't matter. They just love all of us for being there with them. And the way they welcome us, that we go into the auditorium, the band is playing, the kids are singing. It's just amazing. They have a little stage area in their auditorium. And realize when I say auditorium, dirt floor, stone walls, and a little platform with steps made out of stone. This is dirt. This is where they're gathered on the property. And their band comes in and they stand on the stage and they play the Uganda national anthem, followed by our national anthem. You just can't.
Star Spangled Banner by 50 kids in Africa is, you can't describe it.
You can't.
If you have a video of that, please share it. I'd love to be able to share it as part of this podcast. So just please make a note and send it to me.
Terese shot 900 feet of video. Or was it?
I'll take whatever you want to give me.
So much video on my phone.
I'll take any pictures, any video. I think it's important for people, but those who watch this via the YouTube channel will be able to see it. Those who listen to it streaming, they'll be able to hear it. And that sounds great to me. This is a story that's important to share, and there's so much here. Sylvia, how many kids right now are at the school?
1,000 children at the primary school, 200 of them orphans. I currently have 100 kids, 100 orphans in high school. I have 170 orphans now that have graduated from college or technical school. I have another 100 in queue to finish this year, and then another 100 that are going in for 24-25. And
where do the kids come from? How do they find out about you?
Well, they're from the village. It's mostly the village children. The public schools, the government schools are so bad. The only schools that survive are the private schools. In the government schools, they don't pay the teachers if they don't feel like it. They close the schools, they open the schools. It's not fair. Our kids, I mean, our school, understand he started this school in 1995, 12,000 primary schools. We still place in the top 100 in the country academically.
That's unbelievable. And you have people in charge every day doing all the work there. You're getting reports, I'm going to assume, consistently. They, like you said, they don't want to bother you if the well isn't working. They don't want to bother you if this doesn't, this isn't happening. They probably just come to you for the larger issues, but it could be a 24/7 job, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. Well, I do stay on top of it. And every once in a while, I have to be fairly short-tempered about it. I need an answer on this now. Now, it's like when I went around again, here's, the well, it's not working. I go to the typing pool. I love that name. I said to her, what is with this table you're working on? Well, I don't have a desk. I said, in that stool you're sitting, I said, you've got 2 copiers. Yeah, well, they both don't work. I said, for crying out loud. And you're working on a laptop? I said, where's the CPU I gave you? Well, it stopped working. I said, here's the deal, Irene. You get a quote from me for a new copier, a new computer, a desk, a chair. With that copier, I want you to be able to scan. I want you to be able to print to it. I want you to have your own internet line. Okay, so we got all of that only came to 5,000 US dollars. Try to do that in today's world over here. But those are some of the things. Now, it's interesting when we started, because Jeffrey owns the school. I do not own the school. My name isn't on anything. I don't want my name on anything. When I bought the bus, somebody said, well, who owns the bus? I said, the school. Well, don't you want to own the bus? I said, what are we going to do with the bus in Africa? I said, I don't want to own it. I'm making it possible for these people to have a better life. Like the first thing the kids wanted to do when they got the bus, they wanted to go to the airport to see where Grand Sylvia comes in.
Oh my goodness.
The airport's 140 miles away. So they piled, and the kids are itty bitty, 200 kids into that bus so they could go see Grand Sylvia. But it started that way. Jeffrey would say, here's what I want or need. And then as we migrated into more of a partnership, I'd say, okay, I understand that, but what about this? And it's really gotten to where I can say, I think we should be doing this, this, and this. Do you want to add to that? No, that's okay. And
So
I trust him, he trusts me.
So Jeffrey started the school.
Yep, Jeffrey started the school. Reverend Jeffrey Kawuma, Jeffrey Walter. Reverend Kawuma, Jeffrey Walter. You always, for us, it's always the last name first.
Okay.
Like I'm Nakawuma Sylvia. My African name is Nakawuma.
I love it. Did you get one too, Terese?
I did get it. I did get a name. I would have to look it up. So give me a minute.
No, you'll have to let me know because that's wonderful that you did get a name. And so this is an incredible story. And you met Jeffrey by him coming over to you while you were in Uganda on that first trip.
Yeah, when I was teaching these business people.
Right.
He was in the audience and he brought this up. Yeah, but he had been in every audience. No, right? I live on the East Coast, right? What's my first thought? He's stalking me. I thought, holy cow, Sylvia, you're an idiot. But I spent a lot of time saying that. But I had seen him in every audience. And he says that he had constantly tried to talk to me and World Vision had blocked him. Because World Vision brought me hoping I would be a proselytizer for them. I would never raise money for World Vision, ever. Not an organization.
I don't know a lot. I don't know anything
about that. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I know nothing about that one. But what I will say is I appreciate you sharing that. And those who, may know more, they can look up and figure it out on their own. But what I will say is your story, and this story is incredibly amazing. Terese.
Yes.
So you're there 10 days. Tell us just a little bit about, you said you also went on safari. So tell us a little bit about just the entire experience.
Yeah. So when we first got there, we arrived at the school on the weekend when the children weren't there because we needed to prepare for the holiday celebration that week. So we were there and we packed 1,000 little bags with stuff that Sylvia, we all we had our one piece of luggage and a piece of luggage that Sylvia filled with these things for the kids. Okay. Yeah. And so the bags had like Lay's, beads, candy. It had their favorite thing that they got was this little compact mirror with a keychain because they don't have mirrors in their homes. And
Oh.
so Sylvia knew, she knows exactly what to do, and how to give them something. And they walked around the next day after they got it, they would have it on their beads hanging or on their belt loop, and they just loved their little compacts. And so she put all kinds of stickers and pencils and all kinds of stuff. We filled 1,000 bags over the weekend. Then we did the clinic Monday and Tuesday with the kids. And then Wednesday, we got to go to the other property where they had the chickens and the pigs and we got to see the property over there. And it was just amazing to see that they had access to this to bring in more income and she also employed how many people are on the farm?
So we have, well, total staff for the school, 71.
School
And
staff.
I think, because he told me he had, when he said 71, I said, but you told me you had 10 on the farm. He said, well, yeah, that's on the farm. So I'm saying he's probably got 81.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So so then on Thursday, what she also suggested I do, she said, I want you to go and ask permission to sit down in on some of the classrooms so you can see how the teaching style is here. So I sat through a 6th grade geography class and a 5th grade math class. And I have to say, I love the way the teachers teach the kids. They all are very focused. The teacher says something in unison as a team, they repeat it back over and over. And so I was just so amazed. And I love the fact that they were also focused on the teacher and working together as a team in unison. And this is how they're used to being taught this way. And I loved it. It was such interaction. I've been a substitute teacher in the States here in Eatontown years ago when my son was little. He's 29 now. And nothing like what I experienced as a substitute teacher here. And what did you call it, Sylvia? What's the name of that teaching style?
The what?
The teaching style over in Uganda.
Well, it's rote, teaching
Okay.
by rote.
Oh, okay. I thought there was a specific name for it, but okay.
No, it's not pedagogical. We teach pedagogical here.
Okay.
And once you get to graduate school, it's andragogical. We do pedagogical. This is what I'm saying. Believe me, when you take a test, regurgitate and give it back. This is not pedagogical.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's the British model. I know when I read it's a British model.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was really great to experience that. And then on Thursday was the big holiday celebration. We had Santa and Mrs. Claus and 2 elves from the volunteers that we were with.
I mean, Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus were so cute. It was unbelievable.
And what happened was all the schools, starting from the baby class, would line up. Now, baby class is 2, 3-year-olds, right? 2 or 3
Baby class, top class, and then P1 through P7.
Yeah. So they would line up from the youngest, starting with the youngest, and they would go over to where Grand Sylvia was sitting, and she would give each of the children a brand new outfit. And then
Every boy gets a new shirt. Every girl gets a new dress.
and some of the boys, they actually got a set, like
Yeah.
sweatshirts and stuff. And the kids would be pulled over by their teacher once they got their outfits, and the teachers would put their outfits on over their clothes. And then they would gather together and march over to where Santa, Mrs. Claus, and the elves were. And that's where they received their little goodie bags. And it was just such a beautiful tradition. I'm like, oh my God, This was
The,
amazing.
the reason they do the party at that time of year, their school year is February to end of November. So rather than incurring extra expense and bringing staff and everything back, we do Christmas then. You forgot about the jewelry, Terese.
Oh, and the jewelry. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So Sylvia spends the year collecting jewelry donations. People that don't want their costume jewelry, and she collects them from anybody who wants to donate. And then we had to set up 3 big tables full of all this jewelry. And after the kids were done with their Christmas celebration with us, the teachers got to go pick out the jewelry.
The whole staff. They could take 4
Right.
of whatever they wanted.
Yeah. And they loved it. So, you know how they say one man's stuff that they're trying to get rid of is another person's treasure.
That's right.
It was treasure to them.
Oh,
So,
that is so beautiful.
yeah.
You forgot about cake.
Oh God, the cake on Friday, our last day with the kids in the school. They have the top class graduate, and they had such big cakes at the front of the auditorium, and Sylvia and the rest of the volunteers were cutting and serving to the families and the children that were there. And I just love the traditions. And plus the kids were up there doing these little recitals, these little stories, singing songs, dancing, amazing dancing, and the band just playing. It was so traditional for them. Like, I loved experiencing it. I just loved experiencing it. And it was very unifying, very
They
unifying.
all had mortar boards and robes. Black mortar board and a robe with a red tie. They are moving up.
And Sylvia had her little dress and her hat because she handed out every single diploma to those kids and took pictures with them.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Terese, what did this experience teach you about yourself?
I have to say, we take for granted what we have in the United States. These children have nothing. And they were so happy to get little compact mirrors to play with. And they were so happy to just be there with us. Seeing Americans there all week, helping them and doing things with them, and the way they honored Sylvia and us, as they know what Sylvia does for them in the school. And they know just by being associated with Sylvia, they honored us as well, which I did not expect all that. And it's just such a big celebration, and just to be there to experience their traditions. And realize when we were at the school for those 7 days, we were staying at a hotel about 40 minutes away. So we were driving back and forth. And when you're driving on the dirt roads, actually the main road through all the towns is paved, but everything else is dirt roads. And you see those
red clay dirt
roads. Yes, very messy. And you see all the school children walking to school. They could walk for over a mile to get to school.
Some 5 miles.
5 miles. And this is what these kids do. And it was rainy season. I think out of the 5 days or 6 days that we were at the school, maybe it rained, and flash rains, or usually in the morning, and then it would stop and the sun would come out. So they're walking around in boots on the property, because everything is wet. It's muddy and grassy, but they have their boots on because that's life in this time of the year in Uganda. Yeah, it's just, you really appreciate what we have here when you experience that, and the gratefulness. And I gotta tell you, those kids are little hams, because anytime we took our cell phone out to take a picture, they would vote like bees to honey. Want to get in on the pictures.
That's
Love having
adorable.
pictures.
It's adorable. Sylvia, there's people out there that have ideas and thoughts that they want to do, and it takes a certain type of person to be able to say, and that they're not going to take no for an answer, that they're going to start a nonprofit in the state of New Jersey that's going to be funding things over all the way on the other side of the world. And what do you say to those people who are listening that have vision and ideas, but not confidence?
Interesting that you would bring that up because I'm going through that with somebody right now. Thanks to Terese, there was a gentleman from Bangladesh in the presentation that Terese and I gave on January 5th, and I'm telling you the dates because everything has just moved like this. And he runs a school in Bangladesh, has for 15 years. He said, I can't raise money. I can't raise money. And after 2 or 3 times of talking to him, in my usual subtle style, I said, then why haven't you hired me? He said, how soon can we talk? So when I met with him, he said, okay, I'll hire you. I said, no, you won't. I said, there is so much you haven't done. I can't go out and ask for money until your story is in place. His website comes across as militant. Well, you tell an American, do you want to sponsor a militant Muslim? I don't think so. It has to, he's built a school in a very poor village. I believe it's the village he grew up in. I believe he wants his company, his multi-billion-dollar company that he owns, to give back. But he knows how to run a multi-billion-dollar company. He doesn't know how to lay the groundwork. And what I've put together for him is very interesting. I've got 2 solid pages now of everything that we have to do, tying in with management and with fundraising and with all the pieces that have to be in place. You have to have, how are you going to sell a house? It's only got 1 stick up and 1 brick. Pretty hard, right? Your house has to be ready for you. So we're going over February 17th. It's going to take us 2 days to get there. Fly down and across and up and over. If you look where Bangladesh is, it's to the right of India, below China. But I want to spend just 3 days. I want to interview the children, the board of directors, interview the teachers. I want to walk around the facility. I want to see what the conditions are. I want to sit in a class. I want to visit the children. I want to visit a couple parents. What's the story? And then once I've got the story, I can craft it and put all the pieces together. And then that's year 1. Then year 2, I want him to give me a nephew, a cousin, I don't care what it is, somebody from his country that has the passion for the story. Because he said, well, you should do the story. I went, no. I said, my story is my story. Your story is your story. You aren't able to do that, but we will get someone who can, who still has your needs, your desires, your goals in mind. And it's, if nothing else, you have to have, I said, let me see the 501c3. Oh, it's somewhere. I said, not somewhere, give it to me. Do you have a bank account? Well, not here, but over. I said, you got to have a bank account here. So I'm excited about this because all along, everything I was doing, I thought, if I could only teach a lot of people how to do this, all these nonprofits would be more successful. The key thing to remember is no is not no. It's not no. It's not yet. The other thing is, my goodness, why did that get so bright all of a sudden? That's the camera coming down. The other thing you have to keep in mind is never lose sight of your goal. On the back of my Allen Consulting card, it says obstacles are what you see when you take your eyes off the goal. If you're trapped here, I need to raise $20,000. What's your goal? What's your goal? You can get there. Get there this way, this way, this way. And if somebody says, no, I'm not going to give you $20,000. That's fine. How much are you donating?
So it sounds to me like tenacity, with a little bit of chutzpah, right? And
I think a lot.
A lot of
I was
chutzpah.
being good. I was being good. A lot of chutzpah and a vision, goals, and also, you know, people are attracted to you, Sylvia. You said it. It's this belief. I've heard this so many times from people who are like you. It's this belief in the story. It's the belief in the process. It's the belief in the fact that you have this vision and you're just trying to do good in the world. And when you do it without fear and scarcity, and you come from abundance, it's an incredible thing how you become a magnet. But so many people out there come from fear. And a lot of nonprofit professionals, unfortunately, because we're always hearing, oh, fundraising's so hard and so tough, and there's not enough to go around. That's not true. And when we start to believe differently, different things happen. Do you want to expand on that at all?
Well, I was trying to, I have a little piece of paper that, and that's what I was looking for as I'm flipping around over here. I was trying to make up a list the other day, the P's of Sylvia. So it was perseverance, persistence, persuasion, because all of those P's equal profit.
Oh,
There's one
I
more
love
P in there, and I can't figure out where that piece of paper is. But that's, yeah, you don't ever give up. I always say I'm the barnacle of the fundraising world, and that is, a barnacle attaches itself to the boat and it's there, and you can't get rid of the barnacle. And if I've asked somebody for money, sometimes I do reach out and I say, you know what has just happened? They go, no, what? You have just acquired a barnacle. And they say, what are you talking about? I say, I am the barnacle of fundraising. I said, and Sylvia's children is now a part of your life.
I love that. Love that.
I love it.
And also,
I
Jody, a lot
yes,
of
please.
a lot of passion.
Passion. That's the other P. There you
That's
go.
it. That was
Passion.
it. Yes.
That, that is true. And you know what, Terese, you haven't had a minute here to talk about Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce, but you coming from and going back to this tenacity and motivation and passion. You went
Mhm.
from volunteer to board member to executive director. Again, another path that maybe you didn't think you were going to be on 15 years ago.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
right.
Yeah,
So what
exactly.
kind of message can you share too, when you speak about this?
So I have to say it is about passion because I joined the chamber and I wanted to see how I can help. And I saw the executive director sitting at the breakfast meeting doing credit cards for people at the door. I'm like, why are you here? And he said, because someone else isn't here today and they usually do it. I'm like, show me what to do. And you go talk to the new people. So he showed me how to run the credit card machine, and I sat there and someone else was doing cash. And all of a sudden I found my place, which was comfortable, and that's helping. Right? Because I wasn't comfortable standing up. I was new at this, doing my 30-second commercial 11 years ago. I wasn't comfortable, but when I sat in that seat and started helping, I became the welcome person to the chamber. All of a sudden, people started asking me about the chamber because I became the face of the chamber just as a volunteer, greeting them at events, whether it was the breakfast meeting or in a major event. I was always welcoming them, and taking their payments, right? And so by starting to give and to serve, I never expect anything to come back, but you have to be open because things do start to come back to you. And all of a sudden, this starts to happen. And then all of a sudden, I have the president with his hands on my shoulder at a breakfast meeting when I was collecting money. And he goes, you do so much volunteer work. We want you to sit on the board. I said, oh, great. Can I think about it over the weekend and tell you on Monday? He goes, oh, no, you're not understanding. The board, we already voted you onto the board. I'm like, all right, just don't expect me to do anything else. Ha ha. All of a sudden, I'm the committee head for membership, which I loved being in charge of membership because I was connecting to the members and I was helping them and taking them through the process of being a new member and helping them. And that's really where my passion lies, even as the executive director. Like when Sylvia tells the story about her introducing her to the man who had the school from Bangladesh. I'm like, that's my job. I feel like I'm a chamber matchmaker. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
that's what I do. I try to match up businesses where I think that they could thrive together and collaborate. And I love doing that and helping the businesses. So I love this. It's not really it's a job, yes, but I'm working it within what I'm passionate about. And that's really it's not work when you're passionate about it, right? It's something that you just love to do. And yeah. So I want to, if we have time, I just want to talk about one more thing. And this is perfect, Sylvia, because we talked about it at the breakfast meeting. The chamber has started a new committee called Community Partners in Service. Paula Aldarelli, the executive director of Earthshare New Jersey, is co-chairing this. It's really her brainchild. I've been looking for somebody to start this committee for a couple of years, and I finally found, I mean, Paula and I have been friends for over 3 years now. And she's been doing an amazing job launching this. So we are bringing the nonprofits together with the for-profit community, because we want to see they can all synergistically, well, anyway, there's
Something
synergy.
like that.
There's synergy, there's collaboration. They can help each other. And it's not just about donating money. It's about working together and seeing how the collaboration can work and what we can do for each other. So we're having our first Zoom meeting next Wednesday. And then we're going to start doing in-person meetings every quarter. So we're going to do an in-person meeting to meet the community partners, to help them explain, these are the philanthropists that want to help the nonprofits, and we're going to have a panel discussion between the nonprofits and the panelists. And so this is what I love, the fact that we're launching this now, and this is a perfect time to talk about it. We did do a live, we recorded it to our live on Facebook, on our member network page. So it's out there if anyone wants to hear more about it. They can also reach out to me. They can send me an email, executive@monmouthregionalchamber.com, if they want to hear more about it. We just sent a survey last week out to our nonprofits to see how they'd like to see this committee evolve and how we can serve everybody. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about this today,
Of course.
because this is important. We want to help everybody. So yeah.
I know you do. You have the biggest heart, and I'm so glad we're friends. And
Yeah.
I want to, what is your website? So tell everybody the website.
It's www.monmouthregionalchamber.com. We are a very active chamber. We counted up the events last year. We did 126 events, which is 10.5 events a month. And we have myself, one full-timer, and 2 part-timers running the chamber. But we don't expect everybody to come to everything, but we want to offer a lot so people can pick and choose what they want to do. So
now that's awesome. Thank you, Terese.
Yeah.
Sylvia, how can people find out more information? Where do they go?
They can go to sylviaschildren.org, which is my website. I always say they can call me, 732-241-1144. I always answer the phone. That's usually it.
Do you have any social media for Sylvia's Children?
I do have, but I'm horrid at it. I am beyond horrid at it. I have a Sylvia Allen Facebook page, which I have 1,400 followers or something. I think, get a life, people, you know.
That's amazing. That
But
is amazing.
I did have my own LinkedIn. I had Sylvia's Children and I had me. And when I had a lady who managed all the social media, that was easy. But I can't manage all of those and handle Allen Consulting clients and do service to my Sylvia's Children. Sylvia's Children will always be first. And so I just keep up Sylvia Allen Facebook, and it's got Sylvia's Children stuff on it all the time.
Yes. And don't forget, Alan, Sylvia also has Allen Consulting. And as you can hear, she knows how to find those gems, those treasures out there that people are holding on to, and helps nonprofits to find them and uncover them, which is a beautiful thing. Last question, real quick. Legacy you want to leave behind. It's a question I'm asking pretty much all my guests this year. So Sylvia, you go first.
The legacy? I would give a legacy of just give. The more you give, the more you get. I have a whole bunch of favorite quotes. One is, there's a destiny that makes us brothers, none goes his way alone. All that you put into the lives of others comes back into your own, but you can't expect it back. And then my one other favorite one is Dr. Robert Schuller, Crystal Cathedral in California. Find a need and fill it, find a hurt and heal it, find a problem and solve it. And park your ego at the door. This isn't about you. This is about caring about somebody.
Yeah, so beautiful. And I love that. I love that. I wish I can't write fast enough, so I'll have to re-listen to all of these things and put them in the show notes. Oh my goodness. Terese, what about you?
It's funny because Sylvia said it all. That's exactly what I believe in. Live a life in service, help others with no expectations, and you will be pleasantly surprised at what comes back. And I found my African name.
Yay,
What
what
is
is it?
It's Katusime.
Spell it.
Katusime. 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 And when I asked Jeffrey, I asked him, what does this mean? He said, thank God. It was like,
Okay.
like,
Well, it took us a long time figuring out what Nakawuma was. And then we realized Jeffrey's name is Kawuma Jeffrey Walter. I'm Nakawuma Sylvia, and I'm the female. I mean, it took us a long time to figure that out. And when I said that to Jeffrey, they have a great way. You'll love this, Jody. If they don't want to answer you, they go, Jeffrey, what about this? So I'm pretty sure when he did, I had guessed it right.
That's great. Hey, can we use that here? I like this. I like this. It's polite, right? You just go, and then everybody moves on.
You can't get into a battle with that.
Exactly. So I want to thank you both for being on. I could spend another hour talking to you. And it's just a wonderful to hear these types of stories and to give people the hope that and also those who are listening, and this is something that I always try to put out as a message, those who are listening, nothing is impossible. Some things they feel it, but nothing is impossible. It takes tenacity, motivation, support, finding the people that will support you through it. I mean, Sylvia, you had to find those people who are going to support you, but you had the tenacity to say, I'm not accepting no. I've got passion, perseverance, persuasion, and you're equaling profit. And I'm sure there must some more P's in there. So I love that. What was it?
Persistence, being a barnacle.
And I love the barnacle story. So thank you. Because now I'm always going to picture that in my mind. That's awesome. Well, thank you both again for being part of the podcast, Terese Rolke, Sylvia Allen. Please follow them, go and look at their websites and make sure that you're always giving from the heart without expectation of return, right? Karma is real. And when we do it for real, you don't have to worry about it coming back. It just does on its own. Be the magnet. That's what I'll say. Be the magnet. So thank you again. And my last thing that I say every single podcast is today's the day. You cannot go back to yesterday and you do not yet own tomorrow. So what steps, small or large, are you going to take today to get yourself closer to your goals? Have a great week, everyone. Again, thank you, Sylvia and Terese.
Thank you.